Hello everybody, welcome to the Myster Lemba channel, aka the MLC, and to all my brothers, welcome to the brotherhood. Today's knowledge that I'm going to drop is how to spot a good woman. Shout out to Abstract Focus for dropping this comment and triggering this video. He says, Myster Lemba, I'm a fan of your videos, especially Mindfuck. Could you make a video on spotting a good woman and developing sex appeal? Thanks. And I'm going to say you're welcome. Anybody with questions, go ahead and drop them. I'm here to try to answer them for you while the channel is still small. As I get more people, it'll be more difficult. So if you have some topics, go ahead and drop them. I will evaluate them and I most likely will address them. So, brother Abstract Focus, let's get into it, brother. Yeah. Now this is an interesting topic. In America, in the Western world, the westernized world, how to spot a good woman. Now, for all you brothers listening, you heard across YouTube there's a wave of brothers dropping teachings, dropping complaints, or straight up going their own way. White men, black men, Asian men, Hispanic men. I mean, everybody who deals with a westernized woman, no matter what race she is, man, these brothers got something to say. And let me tell you something. A lot of the complaints from these brothers are about whoredom. So that tells you right now that looking for a good woman in this society is difficult. Not impossible, but difficult. If whoredom is easy, that means good women are at an all-time low and bad women are at an all-time high. Now I'm sure Abstract Focus could get laid quite easily. I mean, a brother does not even need game nowadays. You just have to stand around and look at a chick long enough and you about to get some. Alright, I mean, it's bad out here, and while we enjoy the pussy, we prefer better and good women. Alright, because we want somebody to settle down with, and at the end of the day, most brothers ain't looking around to just bang over here and bang over there. It's fun for a little bit, but then you get empty inside and you just want somebody that you can build with. So I understand the pain. Abstract Focus ain't the only one talking about this. A lot of brothers want to know how to spot a good woman, because in the household it wasn't thought. In the church, forget about it. You'll be lucky if pastor don't try to hook you up with whoever he slept with already. So let's just keep that in mind. So we're gonna get into it. And the best thing I'm going to try to do is to get into the characteristics of a good woman. Now, first thing men need to do is not always be visual creatures when it comes to selecting a good woman. You see that fat ass on the screen. I know y'all see it. Most of y'all probably didn't hear a thing I said. As soon as that slide came up, y'all like, damn, she packing. She don't even need to be cooking in that kitchen. You just gonna slide up on her. I know. We all think that way sometimes. Ain't nothing wrong with it, but we prefer to do it with our wives instead of a bunch of thoughts. So, spotting a good woman. You don't want to be too visual, brothers. I'm not saying pick a woman you're not attracted to, but sometimes you have to lower your visual standards in order to find a good woman. Many times where we as men, we look for the big tits, the juicy lips, the fat ass, the camel toe. I'm gonna keep it raw today. I'm gonna try to, keep the profanity down, but I'm gonna keep it raw. And the reason why is because as men, it's part of our development since the beginning of time in a way, to look at the woman's hips, as a form of being able to bear children. And in a sense, it became part of a sex appeal. It turned us on. Like women look at men with muscles and find that sexy. Because it describes a man who's not lazy, who's fit, that probably can catch dinner and go out in the farm and actually farm for hours and tend to the animals and then come back home and still lay down the business. So it also showed a man with possibilities of longevity. So sometimes what we find as sex appeal is part of a survival skill that I believe the Most High, or some who believe in science, natural selection, ingrained in us. So I would say don't be too visual at first. Not saying pick an ugly woman, but there's a lot of good women who look very decent, who aren't dime pieces. Keep that in mind. Yeah. So that's something to keep in mind when it comes to choosing a woman. Now, brothers, stay focused. Stop looking at that booty. Stay focused. Stay focused. All right. Now, the second phase, which is very important, is to look at the household she was raised in. This is a very important key when spotting a good woman. Talking about wife material. The household she was brought up in. Now, whether it's mother and father together, or mother figure or father figure, whoever raised her had to be in her life at an early age. That's important to find out about that woman. If it's not her biological parents, you want to find out how early did these people enter her life. Usually I would say 10 years old and younger is best. Anything above that may not have any effect when it comes to what I'm about to tell you. The reason it's 10 years old or younger is because you want the mind of that child, of this young lady, to be as fresh and moldable as possible, because she's going to look at the interactions of her parents in order to determine how she's going to behave with her man. Now, if her mother is a catering mother and she is a submissive wife, a catering wife and a submissive wife, there is a good chance that this woman, when she gets older, will be a catering woman and a submissive woman. When her father gets home, do her mother make sure her father eats? Either she cooks before she goes to work, if she's a working mother and a working wife, or she cooks afterwards. Now, I know a lot of women do not want to hear this. They say, I work too, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. First of all, that's why you're single. Second of all, that's why your relationships fall apart if you are in one. I'm not trying to be mean, I'm just giving you the truth. Because remember, the Myster Lemba channel is to teach men how to become better men for you ladies, and first of all, for themselves. But if you refuse to become good women, these men won't be the men that marry you, because I'm also teaching them to avoid the horrible women. Now, the woman's job, primary job, is not to go work for a company, it's to tend to her household. It's her husband's job to go work for a company or start his own business. Family structure can never be changed. We can modify it, and most of the time it falls apart. So, back to topic. You want to know, as a man, does her mother behave in a submissive way to her father? Sometimes you don't even have to ask. You could just tell her, well, how was your day? How are your parents doing? Tell me a little bit about them. How are they? What did they teach you growing up? so you can find out a little bit more about her upbringing. You might want to meet her parents. Don't run away from them. Meet them. Get a hotel room nearby and come visit them, while you're there, because you're there to visit them. Maybe you don't want to stay at their place. And you go have dinner with them. Come by them a few times. Take them out to the mall and see how her mother treats her father, how her father treats her mother. Now, here's the catch. Even if her mother is submissive and cooks and cleans, you need to know this. Does she do it, and is she happy? Because a lot of women, especially the old school, would stay in a relationship, do everything they should be doing as a woman, but feminism got to these women early on, and they still bicker and complain about doing the task that they are doing. If she is one of those kind of mothers and wives, her daughter will have the same trait and won't even attempt to do them at all. So, before you pull out the wedding band and say, whoa, yeah, Mr. Lemba told me if her mother and her father have these characteristics, that's a good sign she's a good woman. Wait, because a lot of mothers, while they're doing laundry, they're complaining about the laundry and how they don't like how this man, which is their husband, and this child's father, or this child's father figure, does this and does that, or how I have to cook for him and does this and does that. If this is what she saw growing up, she is going to say, I do not want to be my mother. See, old school women had their flaws too, and part of their flaws were they understood the importance of the job they were doing, but they never admit and did it with pride, and they never admit that it was a good thing they were doing. So since they complained, bickered, and whined about it, their children grew up to say, well, I'm not doing this crap at all because I don't want to be like my mother. And what that child doesn't understand is that mother actually knows it's a good thing to do. It's just that she complained because she's a complainer. Now, some women are great mothers and great wives. They say, hey, look, when you have a man, you need to take care of your man. You need to make sure your man eats. You need to make sure he's fed. You need to make sure his clothes are washed. You need to make sure your kids are taken care of. You need to make sure the household is tended to. That comes before all else. And as a man being raised in a good family, you're told to make sure your family is protected and provided for at all costs. Not to force your woman to get a job. That is your job to get a job. See, but in our society, we have twist things around. So in spotting a good woman, you have to look at her family. Looking at her family is very important. Is her father the leader in his relationship? So in that household she was raised in, did her father have the ability to say, you know what, this is the plan? Did her father have the ability to say, you know what, sweetheart, I disagree with what you say and we're going to do it this way? And did the mother say, you know what, sweetie, I agree with you, I'm going to do it this way? Or, I don't think it's a good idea, but I kind of see where you're coming from and I'm willing to give it a try. Was the father able to discipline the household without limits? Of course, we're not talking about abuse. We're talking about discipline, meaning the children. Or did her mother jump in her father's face whenever he tried to discipline the kids, or whenever he tried to put his foot down about a certain thing? Did her father just come home and hand the mother the check? Or was the father able to actually sit down with the mother and work on the budget and say, you know what, the money will be doing this and the money will be doing that, and after everything else is taken care of, this is for saving in the banks and this is for recreational, meaning buying your wife things that she might have wanted, buying the children things that they might want. Notice I'm not saying needs, because the needs are taken care of already. You need to know the household that this young woman or your possible future wife was raised in. That is how you spot a good woman, because she don't just cut the corner and you realize it's a good woman. She cuts the corner and you realize it's a fine ass woman. But nothing tells you that's a good woman. So this is key. How she was raised, religion, family ethics, family morals, family views, cultural backgrounds. Was her father a simp or not? Of course you're not going to ask her, hey, was your father a simp? Was he a little softy? I'm trying to keep it clean, guys. Alright? So you're going to have to find that out through conversation. A lot of times you dive into the vagina and it's really good for the moment. The infatuation period is high, and what you end up doing is you marry this woman. And after you marry this woman, you start finding out, oh crap, she doesn't have the qualities I need. And the sad thing is, a lot of the men don't know the qualities they need from a woman. And they do not know what qualities to look for in a woman, because they were never taught themselves. And the reason why these relationships are falling apart is because nature always takes course. The man's biological makeup knows the woman is not supposed to be whatever way she's being, which usually is the Western way. You see, you may not know exactly what to look for, but you just know it's not that. So you end up falling apart, and your relationships fall apart and you guys break up. It's the same thing from a woman. A lot of the women nowadays, these sisters are trying to get a man that they can tell what to do, a man that they can rule, a man that they can step on. And they don't realize they're stepping on that man. They're just behaving the way they saw their older sisters do it. Whatever woman from Empire was behaving that way, they copied it. You know, little young girls are watching these shows with their parents, and they do things like that. Men are saying wife is always right, happy wife, happy life. So they put these obligations on men, and the men are raised to simp. Like there's something about Mary, you know, the movie, and these men start simping and doing stupid things, and as a result, these women start to lose attraction for these brothers, because these women don't even know why they're losing attraction, because these men are almost doing exactly what they want. These men are apologizing, they're buying flowers, they're catering, they're very nice, but these men are not getting the vagina, and these men are turning women off and turning women away, and women are saying, you know what, I don't want this man anymore, and they're falling out of love with their husband. And the reason why is because the first thing is they're falling out of lust with their husband. They no longer lust after the man and the only man that they are supposed to lust after. Because biology, once again, their nature do not want a spineless man. So a lot of times we look for the wrong things because our society have programmed us with BS. And by BS I mean bad science. So when spotting a good woman, you have to keep those things in mind. And since some of you guys don't know exactly what is it you should be looking for, I just labeled them in a very general umbrella that can cover every aspect of what you might be looking for, because her upbringing is very, very, very important. The kind of woman her mother is very important. The other part is, how is her relationship with her father? Now, does she cook for her father when mother's not home or mother cannot? Does she make juices for her father? By making juices, I mean she goes to the store, gets some bananas, some strawberries, some almond milk, she gets some cinnamon and some nutmeg, and she makes something nice for her father. You know, she says, hey dad, you know, I know you're getting home and mom's not home. She calls him on the phone and says, hey, look, I'm out right now. I made your food. It's on the table. It's in the microwave. And I made you some juice. It's in your favorite jug. And it's in the refrigerator. Okay? If you need anything, just call me, all right? What kind of woman is she? Because a lot of these women, they think that they're women. But the truth is, they're just pussy. And excuse my language, because a lot of women have to understand, if you do not have the catering and the nurturing, then you have nothing to offer beside the slit in between your legs. And that's not what a man looks for when he's talking about building. So get the idea that you don't have to cook and you don't have to cater out of your head. And a man, stop picking women that do not know how to, unwilling to learn how to, and do not do those things. Let that sink in. Because if a woman is unwilling to cook for you, clean for you, cater to you, and take care of the kids, then you don't have a wife. You have a home girl. Probably even worse. So look at how she treats her father, how her mother treats her father. Does her father lead the house, or is he a wimp? Those things matter. The other thing is very important, very rare, but it still exists even with women in their 30s and even some in their 40s. A virgin woman. I know a lot of guys have been brainwashed to thinking, oh, I don't really need that. They ain't really that important. Actually, it is. If you ever listen to brother BGS Ibmore, Ron Wills on the Womb Imprint, my video called Mindfuck, I got 2 of them. You will understand why it's important. If you ever seen my video, Her Past Matters, you will understand why a virgin is important. Now, you cannot spot a virgin by just looking at her. Virgins tend to go under the radar. They usually dress very conservative. They are probably not dimes. Some of them are. Some of them are not dimes. They just probably 7s and 8s. Some of them are 6 and 5s. Okay? And they dress very modest. But under that clothes could be a fine woman. So you need to use your X-ray vision, which is something a lot of men lost, because nowadays women are so naked, we forgot how to look past the clothing. So we pretty much look for nude women. Okay, and for all the women who dress naked all the time, you're stimulating my dick, not my mind. And you wonder why you're still getting the same results from men, which is getting dick down and ditched. Let that sink in. The virgin woman has not been imprinted by any other man, because science have found that a man's DNA and even a man's presence inside a woman's womb, even if DNA is not involved, does something to her mind. Okay, these are things that scientists are slow to. For all the people who love science, understand that Western science is the slowest science. It's called rediscovery science, because they're rediscovering things a lot of ancient civilizations already knew, such as the Egyptians, the ancient Babylonians. You're talking about the ancient Mayans and the Aztecs. You're talking about the ancient Israelites, the actual biblical Israelites. People like those already knew, the shamanic people. They already know the importance of a virgin for a man. First of all, a virgin, if you believe in a higher power, is God's gift wrapped to a man, the only man who's going to marry that woman. Most women nowadays do not know the importance of their virginity, so they give it up, and then have the audacity to tell a man that I'm giving myself up to you. No, whatever man you meet in the future that decides to build with you, there's nothing wrong. But what you need to understand, you're not giving yourself up to that man. you gave yourself up already. What you are doing is sexually indulging with this man and choosing to be loyal sexually to that man. But giving up is to have something to lose, and you're not a virgin. Okay? A good example would be if you cheated on your husband, he probably wouldn't even know if he slept with you the same night. But if you were a virgin and you guys were engaged, and by the time you get married, he would know the difference if you had sex with a different man. That is called giving yourself up, saving the gift wrapped that God created or that nature created, for those of you who are very sensitive to the idea of God, for your husband. It is not something you give up all over the place and then you're like, okay, here's this used pussy, have fun with it. It don't work that way. Let that sink in. Now, a woman can be tattooed by a previous man. The previous man can actually leave a mental tattoo on that woman. Those who are more into understanding spirituality and I believe herbalism, and the herbalists who understand trees and plants, they understand certain ways you can detox a woman's body, where that man that she previously slept with do not leave an aura on her, or so to speak, those who explain certain things like how should I say this, kind of like a well, really from the scientific point of view, it's really DNA and psychological effect. That's what they call it. For those of you who are sensitive to anything besides your Western mindsets, let me just put it to you this way: a psychological effect. And in some cases, the man's DNA may be found in her brain, especially if she gave birth to a male son. Okay, so while making you guys more comfortable, let's get into the deeper stuff, which is the real stuff that the ancient civilizations discovered. This man's, in a sense, soul left a remnant of itself with that woman. And it has an impact on her whether she knows it or not, whether she hates that previous guy or not. So that's something to keep in mind. And those who are into herbalism talk about a way she can detox herself away from that. Now, notice the herbs are not any spiritual things. Every tree carries a chemical component, and that chemical has a reaction it's doing on her and to her that actually frees her from that man. Now, what you must understand, nothing can free her from the first man. We're talking about every other man after that, because he may stay with her for at least 7 years, and by stay, I mean a piece of him. In other words, that's why you start seeing certain women having trust issues, because something happened. She may have certain sexual things that she like and may not even realize where she might have learned it from. She may have certain types of men that she likes, at least physically speaking, because she might have hated whatever man she previously slept with. He might have been a complete douche and she doesn't like him, but she might be looking for a kind of build that might seem to resemble him. So I want you brothers to keep that in mind. So a virgin proves a woman, one, that has a lot of self-control, hasn't been imprinted by any other man, a woman with high ethics, high morals, that understands virtue. Even if it is because of a religious belief, it shows that she has strong self-commitment, and she's able to commit and hold herself because she understands the value of her virginity to her husband, and why it is a dishonor for any woman to marry a man when she's not a virgin. And no, there's not a double standard. A man may never have had sex before. What that means is a man never had sex before. A man cannot physically be a virgin. A man is not gift wrapped. I know in Western societies they teach things out of context as if Western societies invented shit. Excuse my language. But they did not invent anything. Just like Christopher Columbus did not discover anything. Just like white people did not build ancient Egypt. Just saying. Okay? So, A virgin is really important. And women who are getting older, you need to understand why virgins are getting married faster than the rest of the group, because they actually represent something very special to men. And men that understand won't run away from a virgin because she's 30 and still a virgin. It doesn't mean nothing's wrong with her. It probably means her experience with meeting men have been wicked men who are trying to have sex with her and take her virginity before they marry her. So she is wise enough and has enough self-control to say, heck no, this is not happening. You're not getting in my pants because I'm a virgin, and the only way you're taking this virginity is to be my husband. You must commit to this vagina. And I say to that woman, all the power to you. God bless. Keep it up. So that's another thing you can look for when spotting a good woman. I went into characteristics and into physical virginity. And the reason why I mentioned virginity is because a lot of you brothers have been taught to overlook virgins. Some of you guys want freaks, as if you cannot teach your woman to be a freak. Actually, let me tell you something about that. Let me touch on that subject a little bit. There is no better woman in the bed than a woman you showed how to have sex. You see, a woman that you showed how to have sex, her idea of best sex is to do sex the exact way you like it. And see, a lot of you brothers you have no self-control over your sexuality. So you have no patience to show a very clean woman, a very good woman, a woman who works so hard on something to keep a gift-wrapped virtue for you. You don't know how to be patient enough to teach her. You want somebody to get down with the sucking, the stroking, the jumping, the bouncing up and down, the grinding, the whining, the moaning, the yelling. But at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, who taught her how to swallow cum? Who imprinted her? Where did she learn these moves? Was it in a hotel room? Was it in the back of a car? Was it in the back of a club? Was it by 6 guys at the same time? Because you never know. Because once she's not a virgin, whatever she tells you, you just take and hope you can believe. But it could be a lot worse than you think. Now, I'm not bashing or putting down any woman who's not a virgin. I'm simply teaching you brothers the importance of a virgin when trying to look for a good woman. These are traits that you do not want to walk away from. These are traits that you want to look for. It's not impossible. There are plenty of them in America. There are even websites about them. Okay? But you have to understand, finding a good woman also takes patience. It's not easy. If good women were easy, we would not be here making these videos. You wouldn't have brothers like Myster Lemba. You wouldn't have the Angry Man channel. You wouldn't have O'Shea. You wouldn't have BGS Ibmore. You wouldn't have Ringo TV. You wouldn't have these brothers out there. And by the way, if you're on any of their channels, let them know Myster Lemba, shout them a shout out. Drop that in the comment, so you get my channel to get some notifications also. I'm a new channel. I'm growing up. I'm growing. I'm blowing up, and I'm getting bigger. I come from a different perspective. I don't get so much on the black women. I don't get so much on women in general. I really much teach you brothers how to avoid bad women, and now how to spot good women, thanks to abstract focus. Alright, I'm on this topic. Now I'm gonna get to his other video, so if you're listening, brother, your video about sex appeal, I'm gonna get to it, but these videos are complex. As you can see, it's longer than most of my videos, so I'm taking some time to break it down, and hopefully in the future I can make pieces that break these videos down even more. What I want you guys to do right now though is I'm gonna take a pause. I want you to subscribe to my channel, subscribe to the Myster Lemba channel, and join the brotherhood. Hit the bell icon, like the video, share the video, comment on this video, and most importantly, I want you to learn. So go ahead and learn on how to spot a good woman. First of all, don't be so visual. It's not all about looks when it comes to a good woman. Second, you need your x-ray vision. You need to be able to see through that clothing, because a lot of the good women, especially virgins, they dress very modest. They go under the radar, and you're not really looking at them because you're not seeing heels and short skirts and leggings, and you're not seeing the camel toe, you're not seeing the big tits, until that woman gets in a room and take that clothes off, and you're going, oh my goodness. Alright, so use your x-ray vision like the old school men used to do, when women used to keep themselves respected and dressed in a modest way, and women used to be virgins. Alright, third, which I had mentioned second the first time around, but third most important, how was she raised? Her family, her upbringing. What was her father's role? What was her father figure's role if it was not her actual biological father? What was his role in the family? Was he the leader? Did the mother respect him? Or did the mother figure respect him? Did she cater to him? Was she submissive to him? Okay? Did she complain and bicker even though she did what she was supposed to do as the mother of that household? As the mother and the wife of that household? Did she bicker and did she complain? Because if she was bickering and complaining, then her child, the girl you're trying to date now, this woman you're trying to date now, figured she's not going to do those things. She figured she's not going to be her mother or her stepmother. Okay? How is this woman's characteristic and behavior towards her father or the father figure? If her mother's not home, does she cook for him? Does she make him some juice? Does she wash daddy's socks? Certain things like that. How close is she with her father? Does she respect him? Because if you see a household where both mother and daughter have very little regard for the man of the household, the father, then that's not the kind of girl you want to get involved with. Like I said, get a hotel room nearby when you come to visit the parents. You don't have to stay in their place. Stop by. Take them out to the mall. See how the mother interact with the father. Take them out to eat. Is she bossy? And if she's bossy, does he have anything to say about it? Or does he just sit there and put his tail between his legs like a dog, put his head down, and just sit in the corner and wimp? You need to know what kind of man that father is, so you know how this young woman is planning to interact with you as a man, because a lot of that is going to come from how her mother or the mother figure of that household interact with her father or the father figure of that household, and also how early on were those figures in her life. 10 years and younger is best. You need patience, brothers. When looking for a good woman, especially in westernized societies, it is not easy. European women, in my opinion, black or white or Asian European women, are actually much better in personality than most American women. But take this, most European men are still going east to Eastern Europe and to Asia to find wives. Why is this? Because wherever westernization dominates, women are no longer wife material. Unless she was brought up properly, either in a religion, in some kind of faith, in some kind of scripture, or in a very good household. Just like in America, we still have virgins who are 30 years old, who are 28, 27, 32, 34, 35. That's the same way, we come to the conclusion that some people, though they are in this society, had better upbringings than others, and they have better moral standards than others. So when looking for a good woman, look at her background, her upbringing. That's very important. If she's a virgin, keep her close. Find out how her personality is. Once you think it's decent enough, put a ring on that woman. That shows self-control. And probably a woman who will not go around cheating, because, well, if she made it this long without the D, I think she could make it a much longer with the D. That you will be delivering, no other man. Okay? And it's not some ego trip, like I said. Look at the womb imprint. Look at my video Mindfuck. You know, check out Rom Wills on the womb imprint. Check out BGS Ibmore on the womb imprint. Check out my video, Her Past Matters. Okay? So you brothers can learn this thing. There's a lot of stuff that are from ancient civilizations that they knew before us, and it got lost over time, and our societies are now rediscovering it, and our science are calling things fluff, and then later on going, oh wait, they were right. So remember, our science is catch-up science. They call rediscovering science because they're really late. You know? So keep that in mind. Don't always be visual. Be patient. Look at her upbringing. If she's a virgin, grab her. You know, not in a rapist way for some of you crazy nuts out there. Alright. But keep that in mind. Thank you for the question. This is the video. I'm Myster Lemba. I'm out.